definitely see how Fozey and Godly kind of react against Spectre and Rayzox's playstyle and see if we're going to see an underdog situation.
Yeah, I mean, what better way to test out your new team versus the best team currently active? I mean, it's kind of hard to beat that. So we're going to be going into game number 1 real quick, going through the ban stage right now. Apocalypse and Demon Island, the only 2 left, going to be one of the 2. Fairly neutral overall.
This should be rather interesting as well. I mean, we're on Demon Island, so they can't really use that ceiling to knock out compared to other maps. So we're going to see them realistically try to go off the bottom of the floor of the map and the sides too. So we'll see what happens here. But we see a double Luke there, Bio.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 of the same back-to-back. We're going to see, I mean, there's no platforms on this stage as well. It's all stage control. How well can you hold the center? And right now, it's a scramble from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And these first stocks there, it's really proving who will have an advantage over the other team. And it's kind of funny that we're seeing like blue team landing these team combos already back-to-back within the first 20 seconds, already having both red team members down into the red of their first stocks.
Yeah, I mean, you just see the experience of Fozey and Godly right now. The coordination between these 2 is insane. The double KO, 2 stocks in the lead, full control of the weapons. It's looking very, very good for Fozey and Godly.
Absolutely, and Godly and Fozey are just landing these team combos with ease, and even when the teams are mostly spreading each other out, doing more of a 1v1 scenario, Fozey and Godly are really showing their 1v1 experience there as well, and they can kind of go into any combos so far that we've seen and mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, and it's not just how they hold themselves an advantage, too. When one of the teammates is off stage, perfect synergy, perfect reaction to be ready to cover it. And they haven't lost a single stock yet again! 2 KOs back-to-back, all 3 stocks for Fozey and Godly, full control of this game.
Absolutely, and the synergy from the blue team is just really, really showing. And we're now seeing the red team able to go and knock out Fozey and Godly's first stocks. But will they be able to make amends in regarding the stocks differences here? We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big mountain to climb. And, like, it seems like it's possible. They're starting to claw their way back in, but it's like you give Fozey Godly 1 opening, this game is just done. We got 2 1v1s on opposite sides of the stage right now, but it just turns around back and forth so quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And Godly is definitely going crazy on that Rayman, and he's really using that force that Axe has with that Rayman and really showing the worth of that. Right now, we're seeing Fozey trying to go in for the knockout options on the red team. So is Godly as well with those gauntlets. Gets that recovery knockout there onto Rayzox, and the second recovery knockout onto Spectre. And
Fozey
this has been
right
double
now.
knockout, double knockout, double knockout, and we're going to the next game here.
I will say, towards the end of that game, Spectre and Rayzox were starting to get a better grasp on things. It's just they lost so hard early on that it was too hard to make that comeback. But if they're able to keep that momentum, they may have a better shot in the second game. So it's really just a question of, like, do they have a read on what Fozey and Godly are going to go for? Are they able to, better evade, especially at the beginning? Are they able to, get their bearings in the first place? We're going to see it going into game number 2 right now.
Absolutely. And I mean, last game, if we were looking at the numbers not too long ago, Spectre had 423 some damage, and then Rayzox had like around 220, 230. So we're definitely going to have to see how Rayzox kind of changes things around going to game number 2. But like you said, I mean, Fozey and Godly were really pushing it in the beginning of the first game, and if the red team can kind of counter that a little bit, they might have a lot more of an even playing field going forward.
Yeah, and like you do see the platform here kind of interrupting what Fozey and Godly want to go for. Those long, drawn-out team combos are a lot harder to execute when your opponent has more options to mix up how they land.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, I mean, we're seeing a little bit right now. Rayzox did knock down the very first stock. We are seeing the kind of blue team focusing a little bit more on Rayzox and then going back to the second teammate there and just trying to get these knockouts. So staying priority on Rayzox there by Godly and Fozey, and then kind of from there knock out the second teammate's stock. But right now, I mean, we're almost a minute in, and Fozey and Godly are still a little bit of a lead, but not as much as they were in the first game, and that's definitely a good news there for the red team.
Yeah, you see the adaptation starting to come in. It really just is a question of, is it enough? I mean, when you go from being down 4 stocks, you still got a lot of work to do, and so a little bit is being done. Only a 1 stock deficit. But yeah, it's really just a question of can they claw their way back?
Yeah, and absolutely. And I mean, speaking of crawling on the way back, I mean, when Gali was getting knocked out of that first stock of theirs, we kind of saw Fozey kind of stick to that edge. They didn't want to really approach the red team. So I think the blue team definitely respects the platform control of the red team with the 2v1 situation. And right now, Rayzox is able to knock out Fozey's first stock. But Gali is kind of being a powerhouse in this regard right now. He's just like, I'm willing to take the 2v1. I'm willing to do so.
Yeah, I mean, Rayzox is doing such a really good job of hanging on to this stock. You know, they've been off the edge for so long.
Oh my gosh.
Spectre with a bit of a team hit there, and it's led to this entire situation. Oh, they were doing so well, and then it all slipped away. Still not a massive deficit. Again, you know, Godly, very, very close to being KO'd. It's still doable, but the comeback is looking less likely.
Yeah, and right now you can just see the amount of movement from Fozey really trying to get on the Rayzox, trying to knock out that final stock of theirs so Fozey and Gali can go ahead and do a 2v1 situation. And it looks like Gali goes ahead and loses that second stock of theirs. Red team is trying to land his team combo on the Fozey. Fozey now in the orange, but Gali coming in, saying, you know what, let's go with some unarmed recoveryness. And we're seeing Fozey starting to fall up a little bit here. But still, right now, blue team has a huge lead, but oh, Rayzox might have an opportunity to knock him out, and he does! It is a one stock all matchup. Can the red team hold their stock just enough so they can go ahead and have an even matchup and get these knockout options?
All right, Rayzox, you gotta run. Now is the time to get away, but you can't escape Fozey. 2v1 situation into the double KO. 2-0 start here.
And I mean, remember what I said the first game? Double knockout, double knockout, double knockout. But this time there was 2 double knockouts. So I mean, we're seeing Spectre and Rayzox definitely holding their ground, especially in the beginning of the rounds now compared to the first game that they had. So they're definitely doing better in that regard. But I mean, we're seeing Fozey and Gali just get this big advantage from the beginning to the middle of their games, and the red team just really having a difficult time trying to even that out a little bit there, Bio.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the red team is, like, they went so hard to try and knock out Fozey's last stock, and then they both overextended off stage, both got reversed on. And so it's like, if you get that, you could potentially win the entire game. But it's such a gamble that didn't pay off for them. So, I mean, if you're taking a coin flip, it lands on heads once, maybe try it again for tails the next time. You know, these are 2 incredible players that you're facing, and sometimes you just have to take those risks if you want to have a chance of beating them.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now we're going into game number 3, and it does look like Rayzox swapped off that Luke. They went over to the Black Knight Orion. So maybe that Orion pick might help them out a little bit as well as we go into game number 3. And this should be rather interesting here. I want to see how Rayzox uses that lance and that spear.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see if Rayzox and Spectre can even get a lead at the beginning. It's just been Fozey and Godly controlling the pace the entire time, and like you have to play so differently when you're coming from behind as well, but it's not looking good in that respect.
Yeah, right now, I mean, blue team just they're trying to go in for these team combos all the time. It doesn't matter where they're at. They're willing to try some very unique team combos, get these knockout options onto the red team. Look at them just go back and forth, and we're seeing both red team members just flying away occasionally back and forth in the air.
Yeah.
Oh my lord, Fozey coming to the knockout on the Spectre on that very first knock, and then tries to do another recovery knockout on to Rayzox there, but Rayzox didn't launch to the side. Blue team really having that neutral control. Gali is willing to kind of approach wherever, no matter where the red team is at. And if they're more, a little bit more closer to each other, he's willing to approach that and challenge those team combos. Rayzox with the Graticatal neutral signature with Orion. That Cider coming in as well, getting the double knockout. And this time the red team got the double knockout, not the blue team. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, finally. I mean, it's still orange and red on both their health bars. You have to be careful, but still, you know, getting the first stock, at least for your mental, it's a good sign.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I don't know, we're seeing red team not have as big as a disadvantage as they had last game, but now they need to go ahead and make amends here. They really, really need to, and it looks like they are. Fozey and Gali are in the orange off their second stocks. Rayzox trying to do something here. Gali's off that ledge. Fozey comes in with a save. Fozey is unable to come back. Gali with the recovery, but gets knocked out and gets punished. Fozey with the grab outside air. Oh my god.
How is it gonna end? There's no way to know. Godly goes down for the ground, but they're still all on the wall here.
What just happened? Coming out of this, both teams there, they were saving each other back to back to back. Fozey comes in with a down signature. Gali comes in with a recovery. Both red team members are down into the red or on the final stock there, while Gali is in the orange of that final stock.
Out of all of that, no one actually gets knocked out off the side. The KOs come with her back on stage, and now we're at one stock for every single member here. Still a bit of an advantage for the red side. This is looking doable.
Yeah, that off-edge conflict between the red team and the blue team, I mean, really allowed the red team to make amends with those stocks and have a little bit of lead right now. Will they be able to go ahead and take game number 3 over here? But right now, it's looking like the red team's starting to take a little bit of an advantage here. Fozey and Gali earn the red of those final stocks here there, Bio.
I mean, any advantage can evaporate in the blink of an eye, but no! Rayzox actually does find the KO, and red team in the 3rd game starts to pull it around.
And the red team got 2 double knockouts. So, I mean, yeah, I love the synergy between both of these players too, because we're now seeing the red team really showing their team combo based stuff and even willing to go off ledge and challenge double gauntlets off that ledge as well, which has a lot easier time trying to get these knockouts on their opponents, but they're willing to challenge it with lance and spear and axe.
All right, and we're doing the run back. Very interesting choice. I mean, I guess Fozey and Gali just feel confident coming back here. You know, there was that big scramble off the side that probably didn't go the way they wanted. So we're gonna have to see if Game 4 offers anything different. Bit of a slower start, but Fozey and Gali have something going off the side now. Gotta be careful if you're Spectre.
Yeah, Spectre is kind of getting into the orange of that first stock. Gali is kind of manhandling him with the gauntlets. And Spectre's able to come back, and Fozey comes in with the ground pound punish. Spectre is down to that 2nd stock. You can see Rayzox just trying to keep their stock alive as much as they possibly can. Not really approach to both blue team members at the same time if they can avoid it.
And the insane thing about that edge guard for me is like, Rayzox is there trying to interrupt it the entire time, and they just don't care. They focus on getting Spectre off and still manage to pull it off, but Rayzox has something to say about that. You're gonna knock out my teammate, I'm gonna knock out one of yours.
And he got the 1-step lead over Fozey in that regard as well. He's kind of baited him into that neutral signature. So very nice job coming to the red team. But I mean, blue team has a half stock lead right now. We're seeing the red team, and I'm very surprised with how well Rayzox is playing on that Orion compared to his first 2 games. It's almost like a game changer here.
Weapon toss, no!
The double knockout coming out of Fozey and Gali there on the red team, man. That was one attack that knocked out both red team members. My goodness.
Godly with the save into the double knockout. MVP for sure here. And again, it's like, it's such a bad spot now if you're a red team. You still can equalize this, but not able to KO Fozey off the side. They're still alive, able to hang on to this stock. Finally drops down. The second following shortly afterwards, but you see that life deficit, and so you have to outplay 2 of the best players, I mean, in the world, but I mean, in Europe for sure.
Well, absolutely. They're seed 1 and seed 1 of this tournament, and PR 1 and 2. I mean, Gali and Fozey are just going crazy right now. But I mean, we're definitely seeing Spectre and Rayzox really showing their worth going into this game number 4. I mean, they don't want to go ahead and lose a game 4. They want to go into a game 5 situation and be able to win this set.
Yeah, I mean, reminder, this is the 16th seed versus the 1st seed, and this is a very competitive set. But now, the 1v2. You gotta play out of your mind if you want any chance, and it's not looking likely. I mean, red health bars, if you get 1 good read and a double knockout, maybe you can win the 1v1, but we'll have to see.
I mean, you're also doing that if they do go ahead and get this knockout there on the blue team. I don't know if they're gonna be able to with these team combos. Oh, boom! Knocking out Gali. Rayzox has an opportunity here to go ahead and make it a 1v1.
Oh, you need this, but you have to worry about Godly off the side as well. Now you're on the wall.
Oh, no! Unfortunately, Rayzox unable to touch that ledge. Gali and Fozey taking game number 4. But that was a very, very close game 4. Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot to be proud of going against the #1 seed there. And it was just the slightest misangle on that air dodge. You know, air dodge down to the side instead of going to the wall. And it's like, it's a tough spot to be in because if you go directly into the wall, you know, people are used to that. That's the one air dodge people expect, but you have to be high enough to get that diagonal air dodge, and it was not in the cards today. But still, fantastic set. Good stuff to Spectre and Rayzox. I wouldn't be surprised if they advanced in the lower bracket, but time goes on. We must move on to the next set.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to move on after that. That was a very, very good matchup. I don't think anyone going into this matchup would have expected this to go to a game 4 close situations and possibly into the game 5. So props there to Spectre and Rayzox. You brought it up where you're definitely going to see them. You feel like they're going to do well on the loser side. I think the